Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back, y'all. You can call me Elle, and this is my perspective. Okay, so today I want to go back and visit a little bit about that, the other video that I had done way back when about the 10,000 Mexico peso con. Okay, and this is looking at some things because what I'm doing is behind the scenes, I'm looking at my experiences that I had in Merida, Mexico, and getting ready for the places that I may be going to visit and or potentially live. Okay, so um, yeah, so in the United States, I would definitely do a high level of due diligence like that. I'm just going to do it. And so, looking at the water bill, the electric bill, how do you pay these things, the trash, because sometimes they separate out water and trash, and sometimes it's together. And then other times, they may say that, the water, electric, and trash may be combined. And so it's just you just check and see, how are things going to be, where I'm moving to, and all the things. Ask all the questions, know the norm for different cities, and so forth and so on. So there's this place in Texas, and I had done the research before I had even gotten there. And I was just like, okay, let me look and let me see what's going on. And people were just like, don't move here. The water bill is super high. And so they were reporting for one person in the unit, they would be paying, this is several different people. So it was ranging between 100 and 300 a month for the water bill. Certain cities, I mean, in this specific city, but different apartment complexes. And I was just like, wait, what? Because I have me and my daughter, and our water bill, y'all, if we tapping on $50, I'm like, wait, what? You know, and I have OCD, so I'm running water like all the time. Like, my hands can tell you that I'm washing nonstop and unhealthily. But anyway, so I'm not trying to do that. And so I had done the research and all the things. And the only thing is that they were like, if it says broiler, that they're on a broiler system, run. And so it was time for us to actually start looking because we were moving to that city. And so, yeah, they would say that they're on a broiler system. But before would say that they're on a broiler system, I would ask because you have a right to ask this, and this is for Merida as well. You have a right to ask, hey, so what do the monthly payments look like when it comes to the water, the electricity, the trash, things like that. And so she was like, oh, between $8 and $15. And I was just like, $8 and $15. Now that sounds really low. Again, especially because it's two of us and our bill is not that low. Like not since the early 90s may you be talking about that kind of low payment, but this is in the early 90s, y'all. And so I was just like, okay. And so um, I said, what kind of system are you on? A broiler? Oh no, I'm good. You know what? It's time for me to move on to another place. I'm going to go, yeah, we're good. So the broiler system, from the way that I've been told is there's this huge, let's say everybody that's in the water, in the apartment complex, let's say that you have, I don't know, 150 units, right? And so if you have 150 units, they're going to take the usage of all 150 units, the entire apartment complex, right? So they'll take that and the water company will send the bill to the apartment complex. The apartment complex then takes the water and divides it evenly between the 150. So it isn't you have two people in yours, so yours should be different than this one who has one person in theirs. Like it's just different. And so, yeah, at the end of the day, it's not something that I want to participate in because, Jimmy John next door may stay home all day, every day, right? And I may have where I'm not staying home all day, every day. And then I may have vacation where I have to leave or where I am leaving for 2 weeks out of the month. And then I may have to travel for work and not even be home for a good portion of the time. And then I'm still going to come home to a bill that's no, I'm good. I'm good. And then imagine if your, excuse me, apartment complex has a swimming pool and they need to fill that. And if you are anything like the ones in Texas, y'all, it'll say no dogs, people still want to bring their dogs, think that they're gonna sneak their dogs. I don't know what's going on. But then you get a note and it's just like, yeah, we gotta close the pool because somebody brought their dog, or we gotta close the pool because there's glass in the pool, whatever the case is. That has to be cleaned, drained out, all the things, and then filled back up. That's going to be part of that person's water bill if they stay in those in those types of apartment complexes. And so, anytime I heard that someone was on a broiler system, I'm good. And so it was that level of knowledge that I had, working knowledge, where I was just like, no, 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 I'm good. I'm good. I don't even want this place. And so moved to Mexico. So in Merida, remember, I was paying someone. And then in addition to paying someone, there was also going to be like a buyer's rep agent that was going to be there. And then either the seller or the seller's rep would be there. In this instance, at the Khan place, the situation was that there were people that were painting, right? But then we thought, including the buyer's rep, thought that they were painters and that they were just working and we were coming in to see as they were doing the work. But then I started to have questions. And so I'm asking the buyer's rep questions. And so then the one painter stood up and started talking. And I'm like, wait, wait, wait. So does he just know? Is he in the know? And then they were like, oh, no, no, no. This is supposed to be the seller. And so I was like, oh, mucho gusto. It's just like, oh, okay, like that was weird because you've been posing as a painter the entire time, and now all of a sudden you are the seller. That's really weird. That was really, really weird. Y'all, the way that he just was just like, nah, I'm just a regular painter. It would be like the undercover boss situation, like that kind of thing. And so I was like, okay, maybe he was just trying to peep out to see who's coming in or whatever the case is. I don't know. And so I started asking questions about, again, the utilities, the water, the trash, the electricity. And then I had noticed that it had the gas because it was up on the roof. And so I'm trying to see, like, is this newly replaced? Is it half done? Is it whatever, whatever? And they were like, yeah, we don't know. Okay, well, do you know about how long it'll last? Like if I move in and I'm thinking I'm about to cook and it's empty, like, and so they were like, no, 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 we guarantee you it's not empty. And so I was just like, okay, but you don't know how much is in there. You don't know if it's gonna last me like a month, a week, or if it's completely full. No, we don't know. You don't know, but you can guarantee me that it's not empty. Okay, cool. So then I was trying to see, how often would I need to replace it or get it filled, refilled. And so they were telling me, if you cook a lot, multiple times a day, whatever, it may last you 3 months. If you don't, maybe just do once a month. I'm sorry, once a day, cooking once a day, it may last you 6 months, and so forth and so on. And so I was like, okay, cool. In my head, I was like, okay, every 2 to 2.5 months, I may need to get replaced, but I'm cool. Excuse me. Moved on, and I was just like, okay, electricity. How do I pay the electricity? You don't pay the electric bill directly. He was saying, this is the seller, was saying that he will pay it by meter. He has to tap his card on the meter. From there, he gets a receipt. Then he would bring me the receipt and I reimburse him what's on the receipt. That sounded fishy as all get out. And then the buyer's rep, again, the one that's supposed to be on my side, was like, yeah, 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 that's a thing. I don't know how I felt about that. So yeah, I was just like, okay. Now that's where a huge part of me, in hindsight, wishes that I would have done the research before I had even gotten to Mexico, Merida, to see, like, is that a thing or are they pulling some BS on me? Because it's just really weird. Also, equally weird, and this is just me. It's not weird, but it's just me, for the seller to pose as a painter, actively painting when I walked in, and did not turn to greet me or anything. Was just like, whatever. I acknowledged both of them because I tend to acknowledge people. I don't care if you just sweeping up popcorn in a movie theater, you are a person and I'm going to acknowledge you, but they didn't acknowledge back. And so I was just like, whatever. And so, yeah, it was near the end when it was almost time to leave, but I'm asking the buyer's rep questions that this person is in all of a sudden. I am the seller. So that was weird. And We know how it turns out. But anyway, those types of things. And so, if you stayed on the video this long, thank you. But with me, I do plan to visit some cities in France. Um, Portugal, Amsterdam. Those are just a few. Um, France is going to be more than one place. But those are just a few. And so I'm needing to do that level of research before I go to those countries. Maybe they compare to what is in Mexico. Maybe they compare more to what is in the Estados Unidos. So I don't know. The other thing is that in Merida, Mexico, as many of you know, because I did say it, I did pay someone to help me with looking for houses, show up and go look at the houses with me and all the things. But I do realize that I paid someone because I didn't want to do the work myself. And I thought that that also meant that this person had done the research and known, the signs to look for. This is good. This is a con. This is a setup. We got to get out. We got to do all those things. But that was not the case. So, moving forward in those other countries, I will do the work that I did in the United States. I'll do the work, but I'm also open to paying someone to help me look, but I'm going to have my own back. I'm not going to hope or assume that the person that I have paid in whatever country will have my back, but they may have their own back and do whatever, and it's not that they may have their own back, but not really have the level of knowledge and expertise that I feel that they have when I pay for said services. So again, to take on a lot more of that myself, I did learn again, and y'all know this from looking at the other video, I did learn that even though the person that I paid for to assist me said that I had to do the deposit up front, and the buyer's rep also said that I had to do the deposit up front. That is not the case for Merida, Mexico. You do not need to put that deposit up front. And I would strongly suggest that you not put that deposit down. No monies need to change place or anything until, excuse me, you are signing the contract and getting the keys and the notary is present, like all those things. The attorney, like all those things need to be in place already. So, yeah, it's just learning. And, while I still see myself probably paying someone, because these are all going to be countries that I've never been to, not been to France. Je parle un peu français, but I haven't been there. I haven't been to Portugal. I haven't been to Amsterdam, none of those places. So I still may pay someone to help me look for housing, but I will have more knowledge on my side and, take on more of that responsibility myself. Like the only thing I might have you do is to look up. But if I feel remotely that I have the same level of information that I have when I'm looking for places in the United States, then I may not take and have anybody that I pull. But I do know, and I'm saying this to you guys, know the water, electric, the gas, trash. There was a place that I stayed at in the United States the a good portion of the time that I stayed in Austin, Texas, I had valet trash, and so the trash was included with the water bill, but she did mention that we had valet. She did mention that the trash bill was going to be included with the water bill. But after we had signed, or as we were signing, I saw an additional price. And I was like, hey, what is this for? And so she was like, yeah, the valet trash. Remember, I told you about the valet trash. You told me about the valet trash, but you didn't tell me it was an additional fee. You told me that the water in the trash was here. And she was like, oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot to tell you. But because it is a contracted company, completely different than this water and trash, that's why we bill you. And I think it was just like $30 or $40 a month for valet trash. And so I was like, okay, that's what, it is what it is. I didn't mind valet trash. Valet trash actually for that entire community was mandatory. But again, I'm cool with that. There was no smoking for the entire community as well. Like you couldn't even have a worker come and do any type of repairs and smoke on the property. So, it was just I'm fine with that. I just need to know about it and I need it to be explained to me. Like, don't sneak anything in. And so, don't have any roundabout ways, with the man saying, I got to go pay the meter, then I'll get a receipt, then I'll come to you and you reimburse me. Well, why can't I just go to the meter? Why do I have to reimburse you? And, to have this, to be in a position where if I were to have executed this type of contract, and that would be the thing, if this man were to have been fraudulent with this receipt, maybe the receipt didn't match up to my unit that I was in, that house address that I was in, whatever the case is, now I have to deal with some mess, right? That's too much. So, um, yeah, yeah. Do your research. The other thing is that the person that I had paid, I did know that I needed to inspect the house, the apartment, the condo, whatever it was. I needed to inspect it, and it wasn't going to be if you see it and it's broken now, they'll fix it when you move in. It was if you see it and it's broken, you need to let them know so that they can fix it before you do the paperwork and move in. Because if it's broken, then it's going to stay broken. You're going to have to say, this is broken and fix it type thing. In the United States, all the places that I've moved to, everything is already done. There was probably one instance where I went to go tour, me and my daughter went to go tour, and the person was with us and was like, okay, so we're going to paint this and we're going to change this out for this, because this stove has scratches on it. So we're going to be changing this out, and maybe if the water heater needed to be replaced, then that was going to be, things that they would say, okay, we're going to be doing this. And then once you leave out of here, if you decide that you want to move in, we will have this thing cleaned before you actually move in, and so it was just those types of things where it's just like, okay, I want to know those, the level, and it could be the level of apartments and things that we would move into as well, where it's just like all this is just going to be taken care of. Like you're not going to be moving in and see somebody else's hair in here. You're not going to be moving in and there's any types of dirt or anything any place. Like they are actually going to be cleaning it and cleaning it thoroughly. So, I definitely appreciated those, and I definitely did also take those things for advantage, take those things and assume that they may still have the same standards in other countries, whereas they don't. If you go in, something's not going to be necessarily cleaned. You're probably going to have to clean it yourself, and that means hiring your own cleaning company to do it, because maybe what you're used to isn't going to be what you're going to get, and that's not saying or knocking any one culture or country. It is just saying that the things that you may be used to are not going to be the things that you may get. So, you have to definitely express those things before moving in, before signing a contract, and check again before signing a contract. One of the things in the United States that I know, and again, it didn't affect me because those apartments were usually the ones that I would not move into. But let's say that they're still actively working on it and they say, oh, no, 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 the swimming pool, which is an amenity, the swimming pool will be fixed by the time you move in, because I may be looking 3 months out. And so they'll be like, it'll be fixed by the time you move in and, all these things. Well, just think if I decide to actually secure that apartment and I'm actually looking forward to a swimming pool, here's something in the United States that I know. If the swimming pool is not finished by the time you are touring, do not expect it to be finished by the time you move in. If it is not finished by the time you move out, that's your bad. You cannot get mad at it, right? It's a thing. And so you know, anytime that we would go look at something, if it was supposed to have a pool, that pool better be up, running, and sparkling. Okay. When I do the tour, I don't want to see that it's closed down because if it's closed down for your so-called cleaning, some places can be closed down for cleaning for months at a time. You don't want to move in there. And so that's a working knowledge that I knew in the United States so that if I came, then if it had a pool, then I needed to know that everything works and all the things, maybe it's just empty but it works, but I did not move into a space that had a pool, so that wasn't my concern. I also didn't have to have a pool. I was fine without a pool because I do tolerate higher levels of heat in general, so I didn't need a pool and I didn't feel that I needed a pool to cool down on the hot days. So those were not my concern. But there was an issue with the water in the sink that I had missed where the pipe wasn't completely secure. And so the water would just run everywhere. And I heard the noise at first, and I didn't put two and two together. I thought it was like a slow drain type thing, but the sink never stopped up, it never backed up, none of those things. And so I just thought maybe it was how the water can go out, like the water can just be going through the drain and then you turn off the water and then you hear the trickles afterwards. I was thinking it was something like that. And then down the line is when I was just like, oh, the pipe isn't fully connected. The water would still go through the drain, but it wasn't fully connected. And so I was just like, okay, cool, cool. But now that was my responsibility because I didn't point it out beforehand. And that drain, that pipe actually was an issue because it wasn't connected for a reason. It didn't fit. It did not connect. It was too wrong. The pieces shouldn't have been there. So it was a known thing that the pipe didn't fully connect, and there was no way, like you weren't going to strong arm it into connecting and things like that. It was literally going to be misaligned. There was no way to pull the metal over. And so I was just like, well, ain't that nice? And so, I was just like, yeah, it's my responsibility, but I just ended up putting like a bucket underneath it to catch anything. Like if you turn the water on full force, then I just did that. But just know that it is your responsibility in Mexico to Merida, Mexico, to go through and check everything. If the cabinets are off, if the cabinets are falling off, if the closet doors are falling off, or whatever the case is, make sure that that stuff is addressed when you do your tour. And my thing is instead of, and I said this in the previous video when I was talking about the attorneys, um, no one's going to have your back like you will. So when it comes to going to another country, have your own back. Do not expect an attorney to necessarily have your back or even know what to educate you on, because the attorney is just basically going to answer the questions and give you guidance based on this. They may not know that you don't know. They may not know to tell you because maybe it's not a known thing. It's so many different reasons why information may not be included. So, just that, have that information, know that information. One of the things is that my attorney did know that I put a deposit down. My attorney never advised me to not put a deposit down. And it was just like, oh, okay. Okay. So moving forward, after I did the video where I got, then my attorney did come out on a completely different platform, not platform, but a different person had interviewed them. And that's when they were like, yeah, don't put a deposit down. Do not put a deposit down. And I don't know if that video was said because of my experience or what the case is. I don't know. But I'm telling you that there were some unique experiences that I had. I did learn a lot, and I am taking that information with me as I go to visit other countries and look for countries to live in and actually narrow down to one. So, yeah, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything like that, put it in the comment section. I will say this, if you put some BS and shenanigans in the comment section, it'll stay there and everybody will just see how ignorant you are, because some of the comments clearly show that y'all have not left the United States or you haven't lived in another country. It almost, yeah, it embarrasses you for some of those comments that are out there. So try to think a little bit more before you put comments that are shenanigans out there. And again, I'm just going to leave them so that everybody can see how you are. If you feel that I think too much, do I think too much or do you not think enough? Are you threatened by my level of intelligence or knowledge or my ability to help others broaden their perspective? But it's just all the things, all the things. But yeah, those comments will just stay there so that people can see your level and where you are. So I have more, but I'm not going to say it. So until next time, you guys have a great one, and I'll chat with you later. Bye, y'all.